Alrighty, we are here. We are live. Don't think I'm going to have any issues this time, but can't make any promises. But we're just going to jump right into it. And the first thing that I want to do is just something short here. It's a Benny Johnson tweet. Everybody's favorite Benny, Benny Johnson. He quote tweeted an Onion article that they wrote today that says Goofy beats Ron DeSantis to death with crowbar, and it's got a picture of a pretty gruesome, bloody Goofy there, and he says not even remotely funny, just deranged. And it's like, I mean, maybe it's deranged, but not really, because when you think about it, Goofy's not a real person. But the thing that really bothers me the most is when Representative Paul Gosar, I don't know if he tweeted it, I think he tweeted out a video of AOC being decapitated. I didn't hear the conservatives say anything about that. I didn't hear them say shit about that. But when it's a fictional character from an outlet, it's the Onion. You getting upset at it is exactly what I mean, that's what they want. It's a parody fucking news site. The Onion's been around for longer than anyone has known who Benny Johnson is. And it's just it is funny. It's fucking hilarious. I think it's hilarious. I didn't even read the article, but just the fact that it made Benny Johnson upset is I think it's pretty funny. And conservatives like to ignore facts. So when you tell someone that, Tucker Carlson said that, he doesn't want to cover Trump and he's going to be excited that he's not going to have to cover them anymore, then, they don't like to acknowledge stuff like that. But the real thing that I didn't know about Benny when I was researching here for this tweet is he used to work at BuzzFeed and he got fired for plagiarism. Do you know how easy it is to write a BuzzFeed article? It's just a sentence and then like 7 GIFs and then another sentence and then like 4 more GIFs. And that's pretty much the format. He got fired for plagiarism. That's how shit Benny Johnson is. He got fired for plagiarism. It's an outlet like BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed has become, I don't even know if they've become more or less mainstream. I don't know if people take them more seriously now. Sometimes I see stories on BuzzFeed before I see them other places, but he got fired. And, I think honestly, he's just really jealous because they're doing something that he was never able to do, and he has his goofy whatever little podcast there. But moving right on to the next thing we have here, we have a clip of OAN, an OAN host saying that they offered Tucker Carlson a job, but he hasn't responded yet. Let's listen.
All righty, time to read some viewer mail. Let's open up the old box. Who's up tonight first? Ooh. We've got Steve. Steve, real simple one. Tell OAN to hire Tucker Carlson. Build up the team. Steve, funny you should say that.
Yeah, it is funny that he should say that because for those of you that don't know, OAN is like the shittier version of Newsmax. I know that's saying a lot because it's Newsmax. Yeah, exactly. But OAN is broke. They have no money. They got dropped from pretty much every big cable provider. They got dropped from DirecTV. They got dropped from Verizon. There is a small portion of people that can even get OAN, and I'm going to show you the numbers here in a second. But this guy says, tell OAN to hire Tucker Carlson. And the host says, it's interesting that you say that. It is interesting that you say that because they would never have enough money. Newsmax even offered Tucker $25 million, which I thought was, I didn't even know they had that much money on hand. That was a wild offer to me, but that was Newsmax. This is OAN. They don't have anywhere near that kind of cash.
Steve, real simple one. Tell OAN to hire Tucker Carlson. Build up the team.
Also,
Steve, funny you should say that. We're actually working on that.
They're working on that. They're going to get Tucker over here, guys.
So
they're working on it.
One America News Network founder Robert Herring extends invitation to Tucker Carlson to become host at network in a multi-million-dollar offer.
Multi-million dollars.
That's legit. That's real news. Mr. Herring.
I should hope it is. This guy just said that's real news. That makes me think it's not real news. Why would you say that your network offered him a job and then claim that it's a true story? You're on OAN. That makes me think it's a lie. Why would he say that's real news? because that's what every reporter says when they're only reporting on facts. That's real news, guys.
Did make a substantial offer, which would be several million more than Fox paid.
I don't believe that shit at all. No fucking way. Especially because it's like I said, when we look here, oh, I don't have it here. When we look here, OAN has just been pretty much dropped by, again, pretty much every single huge cable provider. The future of One America News. This is from 2022, July. The future of One America News, which established itself as a powerful voice in conservative media by promoting some of the most outlandish falsehoods about 2020 election, is in serious doubt as major carriers drop it from their lineups and defamation lawsuits threaten to drain its finances. In April, OAN was dropped by AT&T's DirecTV, which has about 15 million subscribers. So it's not available on DirecTV, and it's it's also not available on Verizon. I don't know about Xfinity, but there is just a small portion getting dropped by Verizon, a small portion of people in this country that can even get OAN through their cable provider, and the fraction of people that watch OAN compared to the people that watched Tucker Carlson, a late night host that beat out every other late night host, averaged 3 million viewers a night, was getting close to averaging Bill O'Reilly's numbers, because apparently Bill O'Reilly averaged 4 million viewers a night. It's not even close. That would be a huge demotion for Tucker, which, I mean, he already got fired, but he's not going to join OAN. He'll do his own thing. This is ridiculously dumb. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but...
to my chagrin, because I don't make that. But anyway, it's Tucker. It's in about me. So the offer's on the table.
Yeah, I think that that could be true. He could be blocked from going. Fox News also came out, or Rolling Stone came out and said that they know for a fact that Fox has a secret dirt file on Tucker that they're waiting to use. They hold that over his head to keep him in line, I guess. Pretty crazy
Tucker's
stuff.
in Florida vacation with the family.
Not really,
wish him the best hanging out. But yeah, if he'd like to entertain the offer, our founder and boss man would love to have a chat with him. So nothing's in the works, nothing's happening, but the offer's been extended. I don't think he's even responded. He's probably just taking some time to relax with his family, as he should.
That was a really weird. Everything that guy said just made me think that they didn't offer him anything, and he was lying about it. But more on Tucker. We have Marjorie Taylor Greene going on Newsmax to talk about Tucker's firing and how Fox News has gone woke, caved to the woke mob. They're left now.
Congresswoman, big news of the week, Fox fired Tucker Carlson. Fox has gone left. They've gone woke.
They've gone left. They've gone woke, ladies and gentlemen. Fox News is, in fact, woke. I don't think that these people... I mean, it loses its meaning when you say everything is woke. Fox News is woke now, guys. What's not woke anymore? What isn't woke? Newsmax?
We're clearly calling them out for it. Tucker is a great voice for conservatives across the country. He doesn't have the platform anymore. Will you weigh in on...
I mean, he might not have Fox News's platform, but unless he gets banned, which he hasn't been, unless he gets banned from every social media, which his content is still on the Fox News YouTube channel, a lot of it is, unless he gets banned from every single social media platform, and there are people that this does happen to, but then they just go and start their own thing. Tucker still has platforms to spread his bigotry, his conspiracy theories, his lies, so they can sit here and go boo-hoo all they want. He doesn't have the platform anymore. People are still going to listen to what that motherfucker has to say, regardless whether he's in front of the camera at Fox's studio or not, so...
Fox's decision to fire probably one of the more conservative voices.
Realistically, the only reason they're talking about this is because they're trying to get their ratings to go up. This is probably a really great thing for a lot of this conservative media. You know, it's a easy story to talk about, right?
As most important voices in America.
Absolutely. I think it was devastating to our First Amendment, Eric. I see it as
I think it was devastating to our First Amendment. There's a tweet that I have here of Marge 2 saying that the First Amendment is gone because they fired Tucker Carlson. This has nothing to do with the First Amendment. Fox News, they can pretty much do whatever they want. If they want to fire Tucker Carlson, they can fire Tucker Carlson. If they want to keep people like Jeanine Pirro, they can do whatever they want to do. It doesn't matter. Okay? It has nothing to do with First Amendment rights. These people think that everything is like a human rights violation when it's not. It's nothing. He lost his job. he lost his job, and apparently, and this is just what the media is saying, and also people at Fox, Tucker Carlson's workplace environment was nothing short of extremely toxic, and apparently he was very misogynistic and sexist, and according to people that know more than I do, at the top of Fox News, Lachlan Murdoch and Rupert Murdoch, they wanted Tucker out, okay? And apparently that had something to do with it. There were reports that Tucker Carlson was calling higher-ups at his network, female ones, the C word. And he would just use that word all the time. So,
a very serious problem. Our First Amendment is free speech, but it's also freedom of press. And when a gigantic media company like Fox News fires their number one, Tucker Carlson, not for him doing anything wrong.
No, yeah, for him doing stuff that's wrong. I mean, again, if you live in the conservative, echo chamber, if you just live in this conservative media bubble your whole life, then you take everything that these people say and say, yeah, wow, she's speaking truth to power here, when in reality, nothing she's saying is right. This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. It has nothing to do with the First Amendment. She says it's an attack on free press. It's an attack on free speech. Everything's an attack on free press. Everything's an attack on free speech with these people. Nothing, you can't, any decision that is made is woke. It's all, they're taking away our First Amendment rights. They're taking away our Second Amendment rights. It all has to do with Tucker Carlson being fired.
Not because his ratings were bad, but they literally fired him because they caved to the woke mob. What we're seeing is the end of the First Amendment.
No, that's just not true. And my thing about this is Tucker Carlson being fired, is it a shock? Absolutely. But you want to know what? They pushed Bill O'Reilly out for not the same thing, but similar-ish reasons. There wasn't no settlement between Fox and Dominion where they had to pay out $787,500,000. That didn't happen when Bill O'Reilly was with the network. But this happened to Bill O'Reilly. He was their top guy, okay? Tucker Carlson didn't even reach Bill O'Reilly's ratings. He was really close, but he didn't even get there. They pushed him out. Tucker Carlson took his spot. Tucker Carlson's gone now. Do you really think there's not going to be another one of these people? There is no shortage of these conservative grifters ready to do what Tucker Carlson is doing, because there's, unfortunately, in this country and in the world, there is a huge monetary space for what these people do, like Marge and Tucker Carlson. Republican grifting.
And that's how I see it. I can't see it any other way. We've seen censorship out of control. We saw the federal government, Department of Homeland Security, align with big tech to censor Americans for several years now on political issues because they weren't speaking the speech.
I don't know how someone can listen to her just spew conspiracy after conspiracy in one sentence and sit there and be like, yeah, she knows what the fuck she's talking about.
That was the chosen speech to say. Well, neither was Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson was pushing the limit every single night on his show.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that, Marge. He was definitely pushing the limit, and apparently he pushed it too far, and that's why he got fired.
And he was telling the news stories that the American people wanted to hear.
They're not news. It's not news. Tucker Carlson talking about how he can't fuck the green M&M is not news. The election being stolen, that's not news because that didn't happen. It's not news. It's conspiracy theories, okay? It's not news because it's not real.
I also want to point out that many Democrats even watched Tucker Carlson's show, and he was making a true difference. But Fox News caved.
I don't think that the Democrats that were watching Tucker Carlson's show were watching for the really, really, really in-depth, great news coverage that he would provide, or coverage on certain stories. I think that they were probably watching him for the outlandishly outrageous shit that he would do pretty much every single night. I don't think it has anything to do with how great of a newscaster or a news reporter he is. Come the fuck on now.
To the woke mob, and they are paying.
I know she didn't just say that. Come the fuck on.
I'm hearing from many people that
how dumb is she? How fucking dumb can she be?
did their Fox News apps. I'm hearing from many people that have canceled their Fox Nation subscriptions. And this is a very poor choice for a company to fire their number one that is leading to direct results.
Again, this is literally, you guys know the saying, history repeats itself. Bill O'Reilly, Tucker Carlson, it's gonna happen again, guys. These people are acting like this is the end of the fucking world, and it is for them apparently. And I'm very much enjoying watching them cry and bitch about it.
The same kind of results that Bud Light has experienced by promoting Dylan Mulvaney, a biological male that prances around like a prepubescent teenage girl. But they fired Tucker Carlson, and so they're going to feel the results.
These conservatives, they can't even talk about anything without being some form of bigot, without showing some form of trans hatred or transphobia. Even when they're not talking about it, even when it's about Tucker Carlson, somehow it's still about how trans people are ruining everything.
Americans
exactly.
are not happy about this.
Free speech,
I spent 11 years at Fox, and towards the end, it started to move. It started to move towards the center. They were pushing the...
No, it didn't. What the fuck is he on? What the hell is he on? It started to move toward the center? No. And I haven't shown the clip yet, and I did want to make a video about it, but a couple days ago, earlier in the week, or it might have been last week, Greg Gutfeld was on the 5, and he said some stuff that I was really surprised about because it was a lot of stuff that I agreed about. And when stuff like that happens, when Fox News gives the take that, progressives might agree with, we talk about that. People like Pacman, people like Sam Cedar, they talk about that because Fox News is not center. They are so far to the right. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how anyone can claim that Fox News is center. That's the most... You can't prove that. You cannot substantiate that claim with any tangible, real evidence because it's just not true.
Karl Rove's and Mitt Romney's and whatnot. Then they brought in Paul Ryan. They put him on the board. Things went even
it's
further
Paul Ryan's fault.
South or left, or so to speak. But take a look at this, and this kind of reminded me.
Fox has gone woke.
Ago,
you see it.
Fox was pushing a trans agenda. They started to go woke well over a year ago. If you don't remember this, folks? Watch.
Pride Month continues as we highlight the story of Rylan Whittington, whose journey of transitioning at age 5 has been seen by 7 million people in a family YouTube video.
Yeah, and they went on and highlighted this family of trans kids, these young kids. They were letting them be trans, and
they only played like 5 seconds of that clip. I mean, I do know what he's referring to, and they did report on it in a way that I thought was very not Fox News-ish, but that's an outlier. That's like one time. And again, they also only played 3 seconds of the clip. It's because they have to get everything to fit their narrative, whether it's true or not. And, this is Newsmax.
Fox was almost promoting it. They were pushing that agenda, and here we are about a year, less than a year later, and Tucker gets fired on the heels of a massive pushback against the trans, Bud Light scandal.
How is this about trans people now? How did it get to trans people? I understand they're trying to bridge this connection, okay, between Tucker Carlson being fired and the backlash that Bud Light has been getting from conservatives for featuring Dylan Mulvaney in ad campaigns, but where is that connection? How did you get there in your brain? What the fuck? They can't even stay on the topic for... I don't even know how long I've been watching this. Too fucking long. It's somehow about trans people. Tucker Carlson got fired because of trans people. You heard it here first at Newsmax.
Going on.
Yeah, absolutely, Eric. People like me and conservative Americans, not just conservatives, Democrats and independents, completely think it's wrong for children to be so-called transitioned. We consider this child abuse. I've even introduced a bill.
She keeps bringing up Democrats and how Democrats think like her and align with what she says and what conservatives say. Where? Show me. You can't just say something like that and not provide evidence.
Introduced it last Congress,
Where?
and I've reintroduced it this Congress, the Protect Children's Innocence Act.
I really don't understand how this went from Tucker Carlson being fired to trans people are bad. This just goes to show you the types of people that Republicans are. They're Republican grift, happening, unfolding right before our eyes, even when it's about Tucker Carlson being fired for him fucking up and having a toxic workplace environment, acting like he was bigger than the network, calling his higher-ups cunts. Somehow this all goes back to the trans agenda.
Make it a Class C felony to perform any type of so-called gender-affirming care that is not affirming at all. It's actually medical child abuse.
It's not medical child abuse, and what do conservatives love to say? Follow the science. So I don't have this pulled up, but I'll pull it up here just for the viewers, so you guys don't think I'm making this up or lying about it. Gender-affirming care. Again, this is something that I'm still learning about now, but gender-affirming care, especially for younger people, it only provides positive mental health benefits, at least according to Harvard. I mean, Ben Shapiro went to Harvard, so I don't know if it's a great measure or not, but it says the mental health benefits associated with gender-affirming surgery. I have shown this article before many times, but this is a study. They did a study. And the study found that gender-affirming surgeries were associated with a 42% reduction in psychological distress and a 44% reduction in suicidal ideation when compared with transgender and gender-diverse people who had not had gender-affirming surgery but wanted it, according to the findings. The study also found a 35% reduction in tobacco smoking among people who had gender-affirming surgeries. Do you hear them talking about this on Newsmax? Do you hear Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about this when she's on there? Do you hear Eric Bolling, or whatever the fuck his name is, talking about this, or any of these conservatives when they sit there and talk about the trans agenda? No, you don't hear them talking about that, because again, that would make their entire fucking argument, the entire Republican grift that they're trying to push on us, fall apart.
It would block puberty blockers, hormone treatments. It would also allow victims, people like Chloe Cole, to sue the medical community that performed genital mutilation on her and others.
It's funny that she's trying to frame gender-affirming surgery as child abuse, when in reality, it's a form of abuse to ban this gender-affirming care, when, again, it promotes positive mental health. It literally improves people's mental health. But they're not talking about that. Why are they not talking about that?
Like her. But see, this is a very serious issue. Fox News shouldn't be pushing the radical left's trans agenda on children. That's so wrong. And now they fired Tucker Carlson. Yeah, the writing is on the
Yeah, the writing is on the wall, guys. They did a story on a trans person and fired Tucker Carlson. Woke. Absolutely woke. All the way to the left now.
wall for Americans.
Fox News is just progressive news network, I guess.
What we're seeing from Fox News. But I think it should concern everyone. We've already seen this type of information and
what concerns me is Marjorie Taylor Greene having a platform to say any of this crazy shit that she's saying. That's what I'm concerned about. I don't give a fuck about Tucker Carlson being fired. I really couldn't give any less of a shit. I know I'm talking about it, but
for politics and CNN and MSNBC and others, we don't expect it from companies and big media companies like Fox News. And I thank you so much, Eric, for bringing that up, because that's an issue that really disturbs me, and that's why I introduced my
yeah, Marge, you are an issue, and you really disturb me. But
bill, Protect Children's Innocence Act.
And this is very important for people like you to do that, because as we all know, the great Andrew Breitbart said, politics is downstream of culture, meaning when you change culture, eventually it catches up to the politicians. We saw the most recent Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson couldn't even define what a woman was.
Couldn't even define what a woman was. This is the classic Matt Walsh Republican conservative argument now, when they're talking about trans people. Can the left define what a woman is? What is a woman? Can the left define a woman? I haven't heard these people define what a woman is yet. So,
meaning she's carving out a space to protect some of these crazy wacko ideas.
It's not crazy wacko ideas, because again, when you follow the science and look at the facts don't care about your feelings about trans people. It's overwhelmingly positive. So
please come back and tell us how that bill is doing, and just come back and join us again soon. We love having you.
That's Eric Bolling literally begging Marge on the air to come back, because I'm sure that their ratings go up when Marjorie Taylor Greene is on the program. That's him saying, please, 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 please come back, please. We really like having you on, because we get more viewers when it happens. Absolutely pathetic, absolutely disgusting. We have one more Marjorie Taylor Greene tweet. tweet, no video. We don't have to listen to her voice. Thank God. I know it's hard. Where she says the First Amendment is the First Amendment is gone. The unholy union of government and big tech created censorship which destroyed free speech. Fox News firing Tucker Carlson and editors not allowing negative Democrat news stories because it would reveal the truth means there is no longer a free press. What is this then? What is this? What is this entire tweet that I'm reading? What is this entire platform? What is Twitter then? What is any social media if there's no such thing as free press? One day people will say, why didn't anyone say anything or try to stop it? Sadly, they won't know how many tried. But they will know how many didn't. This is really the end of their world. Tucker Carlson being fired. I mean, everything that triggers a conservative is the end of their world. But apparently, Tucker Carlson being fired is the end of the First Amendment, the end of free press in this country, the end of free speech, and just all around, just our country, our democracy, life as we know it is now gone because Tucker Carlson no longer exists on Fox News. So that was our little Marjorie Taylor Greene segment for the day. Moving right along, we have Steven Crowder. I wanted to do this last, but we're going to do it now. I uploaded a video last night, as many of you may or may not know. Video footage was released, a Ring camera footage was released of Steven Crowder verbally and emotionally abusing his 8 months pregnant wife. And the footage is really rough. I made a video about that. We're not going to be watching that footage today, but we are going to be watching the conservatives fight about it. Here's a clip of Candace Owens talking about Crowder and about the footage and about what happened. And as many of you also remember, I made a video about this too. Steven Crowder accused Candace Owens of extortion because she went on her platform and said that Steven Crowder needs prayer. Also, just a little side note, Steven Crowder missed the birth of his twin children because he was having surgery for a sunken chest. Remember that big health scare where he was like, I'm really fucked up? Yeah, he really wasn't that fucked up. He had a sunken chest, and he was getting a surgery to fix that sunken chest. Due to complications with the surgery, he missed the birth of his children. So absolutely selfish, absolutely a terrible human being. Here's Candace Owens, though.
Well, again, going back to the pattern, it's not just the Daily Wire.
Exactly. You're exactly right about that. When it benefits them, it's okay. But when it's something they don't like, it's woke, it's bad, it's left, it's an attack on your rights. It's an attack on conservatives' rights only somehow.
It's David Landau. It's Sven the computer.
I got to rewind this.
Well, again, going back to the pattern, it's not just the Daily Wire. It's David Landau. It's Sven the computer.
And when she mentions Dave Landau, or I thought it was Landau, I'm not 100% sure. Dave Landau was the shorter, he's a comedian that was on Steven Crowder's show. Apparently he left the show, and I don't have this pulled up, but you guys can go and look this up. Apparently Dave left the show because he said Crowder was selfish, egocentric bitch, and he wouldn't even let him talk half of the time. He said that Dave Landau literally said that there was a sign in Crowder's studio that he would press, and it was a "Don't talk, Dave. Shut the fuck up. Let Steven rant" sign. And apparently Steven always had to have the last word. And Landau has come out and talked. He went on a podcast and talked about these things.
It's Jared Monroe, formerly known as Not Gay Jared. People that are locked into NDAs and are not allowed to speak about the abuse that they endured by Steven Crowder. It's Owen Benjamin. It's now his wife. Do you believe that all of these various different parties, the majority of them who have never spoken to each other, I have never spoken to Sven the computer, I've never spoken to David Landau, I've never spoken to Hillary Crowder, I've never spoken to Owen Benjamin. Do you believe that all of these people, as is the paranoid narrative that Steven Crowder is presenting, are working maybe in collusion with big tech to try to destroy him?
Okay, so the thing about this is, I mean, she's technically not wrong, but Candace makes these types of arguments on her show when she's being attacked for shit that she does all the time. So she's not really the best one to be making a defense like this, if we're being completely honest here. But, white supremacist infighting is really, really entertaining. These people turn on each other so fast, and they're just so nasty to each other. There are tweets from Mike Cernovich, the crazy, crazy wild, outspoken Republican that I have abstained from making videos on because I think some of the stuff he says is just way too wild. Even he said that, Crowder is a horrible person. That's a lot coming from someone like Mike Cernovich, who's a horrible person.
Or do you believe it's plausible that Steven Crowder is just a monster? I personally believe that he is a monster.
I mean, he is. She's not wrong, but Candace, I don't know if you are the one qualified to say something as such. You're calling Steven Crowder a monster. I mean, maybe look in the mirror.
And that is, by the way, Stephen, if you're watching, I'm not trying to extort you. I am just simply telling the truth. There was a lot of things that are going on, and I am glad that his wife found the strength to speak out. And I'm calling upon everybody to roundly condemn this, to reject this firmly, not to somehow come up with an excuse and say, oh, well, it's a divorce, so we shouldn't talk about it. We should mind our own business. No, the way that we represent ourselves privately and publicly should be the same. If you purport to care about family values, again, then you should care about this situation and you should condemn it.
And that was Candace Owens on Steven Crowder. Not really a whole lot of substance there. She kind of already said a lot of this stuff. I mean, obviously if and there are people that are already defending Steven Crowder. If you are defending Steven Crowder, then you are defending a domestic abuser. But again, Candace Owens is definitely not the one to be talking about people that are monsters or people that are terrible, awful people. But here's a Mike Cernovich tweet. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Mike Cernovich, I think the thing that I find most interesting about him, other than all of the crazy wacko shit that he says, is Mike Cernovich was the one who dug up Sam Cedars' Roman Polanski tweet that got him fired from MSNBC and just caused a huge, huge backlash for Sam. He dug this tweet up and said, this is the type of person Sam Cedar is. Why are these companies working with him? He also, him and some other crazy conservative, got James Gunn fired from Guardians of the Galaxy. He's the same person. That's Mike Cernovich for you. But he says conservatives saying it's inappropriate to discuss Crowder's divorce. Yes. That is what his ex-wife lawyers asked Crowder to do. Instead, he made a video blaming his soon-to-be ex-wife for the divorce and used an old Candace clip to create drama. Now no one can talk? Oh, shut up. And last night, him and Candace were kind of having like a conversation, a back and forth on Twitter. There's a lot of tweets from Cernovich. I'm not going to show all of them because, I'd be here. We'd both be here. We'd all be here all day just talking about Mike Cernovich's Steven Crowder tweets. But we also, I don't have this pulled up. I'm going to pull it up really quick. Tim Pool, the conservatives have turned. The conservative pundits have 100% turned on Steven Crowder. And Tim Pool is focused on the real issues here. Tim Pool says, how does Crowder only have one car? Instead of focusing on the domestic abuse, Tim Pool's response is, how does Crowder only have one car? And I did say that in my video too. But I said it I did say it in the sense of, the only reason he has one car is because he is trying to control his now ex-wife, I guess. Hi. How is everybody doing? Oh, I didn't have my transition ready, but moving right on with Steven Crowder. We have a clip here from Fox News 2010 of Steven Crowder and Amy Schumer, a comedian I am not fond of for many different reasons, but it's not about her, Steven Crowder and Amy Schumer went on a program called Red Eye that doesn't exist anymore at Fox News, I do believe, and had a little debate about We'll watch the debate, and I don't want to spoil it for you guys. I'm really tempted to, though, but here we are. Amy Schumer, Steven Crowder on Fox News.
It helps form a bond stronger than something really strong.
I know, it's awful. It's terribly
not of
awful.
But of abstinence. At least according to a young man named Steven Crowder. Who's he? Who argues...
Yeah, who is he? It's wild to hear someone like Greg Gutfeld in 2010 say, who's Steven Crowder? I wish I lived in a time where people were asking that question. Who's Steven Crowder? Oh, God.
Called that abstinence is kind of awesome. Crowder muses on why abstinence remains a punchline despite offering plenty of benefits to being friends without benefits. Forget that abstinence leads to approximately 0 STDs or studies that show, at least in successful marriages, it's the unbeatable bond of trust that's the real prize. Yes, says Crowder, there's no more worrying about your significant other cheating on you because partners can be supremely confident in their respective self-control, unlike the inventors of the new South American butt dance.
I don't know what this segment. I don't even know what this segment is. This is why you can't take Fox News seriously. But also, he says practicing.
Just
that is not
I think he got a concussion.
He says not. He says waiting to have sex until you're married. You know.
That'll put me off sex forever. Steve,
I'm not going to interrupt.
Here's my question. It's admirable. When do you stop? When do you stop with the abstinence? How will you know it's time?
Well, once you have a ring on your finger, obviously. The only way to know for sure is once you're married. And of course, people know I'm a Christian. This column is
He looks so young, guys. He just looks so young.
not at all pushing faith in anybody. It's just talking about the actual benefits. If you really want to argue for abstinence, you can stop the argument and be abstinent, don't get sick and die.
Yeah. Don't get sick and die, because things like contraception, things like birth control, that's not real. Birth control is not a real thing. And the conservatives are the ones who want to ban birth control. They want to ban birth control. I don't like Amy's humor either. I'm definitely I have issues with Amy Schumer. And that's also a reason why I'm playing this clip, because I was so surprised when I saw this. But you know, he could sit there and say that, you know, not having sex until you're married will make it so you don't get sick and die. But again, you know, birth control is a real thing. So is that really your only argument? Because you won't catch an STD for waiting to have sex until you're married? That's it? That's all he's got?
But, you know, I can say from personal experience that it does build a bond of trust. Constantly you hear women, how often do you hear, well, don't you trust me? It's like, no, you slept with me on the first date. So of course I don't trust you.
It's that old thing, like I would join a club that would let me into that club.
Right.
You know, it's, you know.
Wait, if Steven Crowder has routinely so many times claimed that he waited to have sex until he's married, how does he know about this stuff if he hasn't, how does he know?
She's going to sleep.
This is
with me,
2010.
Usually it's because I'm Canadian. They won't let me in.
Yeah.
Except for Canadian Club Ginger Ale.
Amy, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yes, but also, you know, if I sleep with a guy on the first date, usually if a guy holds my hand, he's going to wind up. So here's the thing. I don't think that women should use sex as a bargaining chip, and a lot of them do. If I want to sleep with someone, I do it. And I am a monogamous slut. Can I say that on air?
I think you can.
I know that this is really goofy shit, but trust me, there's the ending is the best part. I know it's hard to get through this.
That's not what we're worried about.
But what I'm saying is, I have a higher risk of disease. I also have a much higher risk of fun.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is my point by saying
Okay, that was
you
kind of
don't
funny.
think it should be used as a bargaining tool.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as, you know, the kind of point of the column is that abstinence is the one taboo issue regarding sex. I mean, it's like, oh, be a dirty stand-up comic. You're cracking new ground there, Copernicus. But once you talk about abstinence, everyone all of a sudden, they put you, like, right now, we have to talk about it. Because who is this kid who's talking about abstinence who, you know...
Well, it's who's this kid who's, 23. You don't know who you're going to be sexually yet. So to talk about it with such authority and...
Amy Schumer is out here literally laying Steven's future out for him 100%.
arrogance.
I don't know who I'm going to be what?
You don't know who you're going to be sexually yet. You're going to be into really weird things in about a decade.
Oh, I have no doubt.
Yeah, he is. I mean, not really weird things, but Steven Crowder, he likes to dress up like a girl and go to Planet Fitness. He likes to dress up like Anna Kasparian. He just likes to dress up like a girl on his show. So
I have no doubt. Yeah.
Trust me. And the thing is, it doesn't.
But I
there
really
should be
do
no.
want to do. There's
But
nothing
there
wrong
should
with
be
that.
no confidence. You slip by the dirty comedian thing, but honestly, you call yourself a comedian, but you don't do it.
yeah, it's funny because Steven Crowder, he really did want to be a stand-up comic, and I've even made videos about Steven Crowder stand-up. It's horrible. It's awful. It's not good at all. It might be funny if you're a really, 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 really old white person that's a Republican. Maybe it's funny to you, but his comedy is very selective and also just not good.
That much. Like, I go fishing a couple times a year, but I don't introduce myself on TV as a fisherman.
Wow.
Well, this is not really personal.
She fucking destroyed him. I'm sorry, but she absolutely just destroyed him right there. Fucking wrecked his career before it even started. Fuck.
For a concept about abstinence.
Absolutely,
But
she
I'm saying
did.
the whole point is that
There's
someone
no
can get up on
way.
stage, we even talk about it in the column, and talk about anything dirty that they want. But the second you mention abstinence, people, they pucker with discomfort, like, oh no, we can't talk about this. And you're
No, what is he talking about? That's just not true.
qualified as
It's
judgmental.
just
I mean,
that-
I guess like it is like a personal thing if you do that, and like I mean, you know, that's totally up to you if you do want to do that, but it's not. He's making it sound like it's some super like taboo, like you don't even bring that up ever, and it's like, where?
Statistically, it's the healthiest thing to do. It is conducive towards a better marriage by a 25% spread, both physically.
It only takes that one person, though, and there's no contract that the person's not going to cheat on you because they're abstinent. She could
There is
fall
no
in love
contract.
with somebody
Well, actually,
else.
there is a contract. That's what a marriage is. It's a contract.
Well, it's a contract that more than 60% of people break.
No, actually,
That's yeah. Amy's right. More. I don't know if it's 60%, but at least like over half of all marriages end in divorce. That's a fact.
True. Actually, if you even look at the new U.S. Census Bureau statistics, more than 70% of first-time marriages last.
Okay, but then the guy goes off and sleeps with a young boy.
Well,
good. You guys stayed married, but then there's infidelity.
Well, once you bring out the statistics that guys are running around rampantly sleeping with young boys.
First of all, I'm not a boy. I know I have characteristics as such.
All I'm saying is yes, you're right. Of course, it is way safer to not have sex, but. Yeah, but if you have sex with one person, maybe they've had sex with one person. It only takes that one. I've probably had sex with, I don't know, a baker's 2 dozen, you know, and I'm fine.
You had sex with Mike Baker? He is happily married.
He is a
thus
stud muffin.
proving your point.
He's hot.
All I'm saying is
Bill,
not cheating is a contract.
you're abstinent, but not by choice.
No.
He's bought me some absinthe because we've been practicing abstinence, but you bought absinthe for us to share. And
I thought it would lighten the mood. Maybe
This entire segment is just.
naked.
Yeah.
Didn't either.
I understand why
That's
Red Eye got
vomiting.
canceled. Let's just say that.
Oh, I actually,
It's on
I
your
would like to
jacket now.
say that even though I'm not absent by choice, Teardrop, I thought it was a great column, and I thought he made some very good points. And there is a point to be made about how the fact that really the only taboo left is this.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really nothing left that'll get your shock factor up.
Yeah, no, it's true. And also, you know what? Your mom always said, Imogen, your mom always said, if you want respect, don't put out.
Exactly.
So there is, I mean, it's something that's handed down, and until you have kids, you might find yourself saying that.
And
right?
I do put it in my book. It's gone around the world, and I
Yeah.
do on one level talk a bit about abstinence, but more like a few dates. I'm
It's
not
coming.
saying act like someone out of Jersey. Sure, if you want a long-standing relationship,
They
I
have
do
great
put
abs,
that
though.
top
Yes.
tip in
Yeah.
my book. Yeah.
That's the thing, like lack of abstinence is directly linked to really good abs. That's the problem.
That is a problem.
Yeah.
That is
I've
true.
got a beer gut.
But I have to
Yeah, I'm
say,
right
my
there.
last 3 relationships, which each lasted between 2
Why
and
would he
5
say
years,
that?
we slept with each other almost immediately. And it's because I knew that I wanted to be with them, you know?
Except
But
that
why'd you
5 year-
kill them?
Except at the 5-year mark.
Yeah, but so what? At least I figured it out and I didn't get married and spend my life with somebody that I
And you had
hate.
some
But
fun.
statistically,
And I
that's
had a great
unrealistic.
time.
And when they released the footage of the Ring camera, the reporter Yashar Ali said that Hillary Crowder hid years and years of emotional and verbal abuse from her family. So
That's wrong. I mean, if you want to disregard stats, in
What,
fact, then you can
statistically,
say-
what's wrong?
Statistically, 87% of people who wait until they're married are happier, and 52% aren't. And the same thing that you can look at the social organization of sexuality. These are not
How do you have
Christian-funded studies.
statistics on people's happiness?
You tell them, are you happy?
Are
Are
they-
you
'cause
emotionally
they're at church
satisfied?
smiling?
No, you can say, are you emotionally satisfied in your marriage? Yes, no. By a 25% spread, both spouses who are virgins, yes. Are you sexually satisfied in your marriage? Yes. Is it difficult for you to achieve orgasm?
Why would people have to be honest
It's
about
all
their
the sources
emotions?
are listed in the column. Every single source listed. These are things that have been used by the Kinsey Institute.
What I'm
not
saying
calling
is,
these out.
who cares what they said? A lot of people say they have happy marriages, even in therapy, when
but
they're,
and then in reality, again, over 50% of marriages they end in divorce, like Steven Crowder's.
they're miserable.
So the 25-point spread doesn't matter because only the people who would be lying would be the people who are abstinent.
I just don't know any happily married people.
Speaking of statistics,
I don't.
let's get back to my plight.
What?
Statistically, 100% of these women are not calling me back.
That is true.
Nobody's reading my column. If you
Nothing-
catch my drift, Greg.
Yeah, me neither.
Yes, exactly.
Crowder's
Maybe
not
you
funny,
should've
but
done the column
no one on
abstinence.
this
Thank
panel
you.
is funny.
Exactly.
Yes.
And the headline would have been sad face.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sorry that got so heated. I just want
That
to say
was good TV.
I just want to say that I read the blog and it did come across to me like you ended it by saying no judgments, but it definitely felt very judgmental.
Of course, when the column was written about the reaction from people like you who the second you talk about abstinence get upset. So, thank you.
Well, people like me who are almost 10 years older than you and know what it's like to live life and not just have all these morals with no life experience.
Right, I have no life experience. That is true.
I'm sorry, but somebody who works a little bit of the Christian comedy
33.
circuit.
The Christian comedy circuit? What just happened?
The irony is,
this is the longest debate we've ever had on Red Eye.
It is.
In almost
And the irony
3.5 years.
The irony is they make a very sexy Tuesday.
Yeah.
Really do.
I like
Almost as
Steven.
sexy as,
I think
Lloyd
he's
Long.
smart. No, I think you're smart. You're young, and
See what I'm saying,
you're
Greg?
great.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying.
But you were wrong on all those counts. On one of those
This
things.
was all a ploy to pick you up, by the way.
Oh,
So,
I'm
like-
flirting. This is me flirting. Is it working?
He looks so nervous. He is uncomfortable, and I think it's because Amy Schumer is saying stuff that he knows deep down is true or will be true in the future, because he looks so uncomfortable.
During the commercial break, which means
That's
she
my
likes
thing.
me.
That's what I do.
So, do you have a comment on the show? Email us. It's redeye@foxnews.com.
Oof.
Can't wait to watch this at home.
I know.
And to leave a voicemail on my direct line, call 212-462-5050. Still to come, the halftime report from TV's Andy Levy.
And that's the end of the clip. That's the end of the clip. Well, there's the end of the clip right there. Amy Schumer predicting. And there's another clip that I had a lot of trouble finding. But there's another clip of that same exchange where Amy Schumer, at the end of it, she literally says that one day you're going to get divorced, Stephen. And again, I had trouble finding that clip. I know the Majority Report was able to find that clip. I think it might have been uploaded to Fox News itself. But moving along, this is something that I missed. I missed this. This is a clip from February, I believe, of Ben Shapiro talking about racial bias against white people. Here it is.
Horrifying racial past, in which
I'm sorry.
there is something weird about a society that is supposedly so racist and so terrible, where you're not seeing a lot of Black Americans attempting to look white or pass, right? That is a vestige of America's horrifying racial past, in which
to Ben Shapiro's credit, he is not wrong about that. That is a thing that did happen. There's a really, really, really good NPR article I found right here called "A Chosen Exile: Black People Passing in White America." We're not going to read the entire article, but I thought it was really, really interesting. And in this NPR article, they talk about how this black individual who looked white but was black would try to pass as white to live a normal life in racist America. Several years ago, Stanford historian Allison Hobbs was talking with a favorite aunt who was the family storyteller. Hobbs learned that she had a distant cousin whom she'd never met nor heard of. Hobbs' cousin had been living as white far away in California since he'd graduated from high school. That was the insistence of her mother. She was black, but she looked white, and her mother decided it was in her best interest to move far away from Chicago to L.A. and to assume the life of a white woman. Her mother really felt like this was the very best thing she could do for her daughter. She felt this was a way to offer opportunities to her daughter that she wouldn't have living as a black woman on the south side of Chicago. So what Ben Shapiro is saying, it is part of our society, but the reason that something like that exists is because of our racial
in order
past.
to live a normal life.
And we're still, America today is still systemically and institutionally racist, okay? If you're going to deny that, then you're denying facts.
By normal life, I mean sort of the standard American opportunistic life. Very often you would have Black people who would attempt to pass for white. Right? That was a symptom of a broken racial culture in the United States. Now things are sort of broken weirdly in reverse, where you have.
And this is where it starts to go off the rails, because what he said at first was not entirely wrong. He was kind of right about that. It was also history, but
white people who are attempting to appropriate Black culture and to be Black or to be Muslim or to be a minority group simply so they are not labeled white, which shows you where we are culturally speaking. Again, I've yet to see a publicized case of a Black person masquerading as white recently, but you do see a wide variety of cases of white people who are masquerading as members of minorities.
So he says masquerading as members of minorities, and I don't know what that means. If he's talking about cultural appropriation, that is something that does happen, but it doesn't only happen to Black people, and it's not only white people that do that type of stuff toward the black community. I have seen stories of white people who it was like a prom, and it was supposed to be this like these people were wearing this like Asian themed stuff, and a lot of people were taking it as these people culturally appropriating Asian culture because they were white people. I don't know if that's what he's talking about. Ben Shapiro, he says stuff, but he doesn't really explain it. He doesn't really explain what he means when he says there are white people masquerading as Muslims, as black people, as whatever.
This happening at The Intercept is now reporting that members of the American Friends Service Committee, a prominent Quaker organization known for its progressive values and social justice advocacy in the United States and abroad, have now raised an alarm about a woman holding a leadership position within the organization who they say has misrepresented her ethnic background for years. And they fear may be working on behalf of groups seeking to undermine their organization. Raquel Evita Saraswati, a Muslim activist who for years has encouraged people to believe she is a woman of color, including Latina, as well as South Asian and Arab descent, is the AFSC's Chief Equity, Inclusion, and Culture Officer. That is a senior position that gives her access to files of dozens of the organization's staff and volunteers. But unfortunately, according to her mom, she's a white lady. Her mom is a woman named Carol Perone. Quote, I call her Rachel. I don't know why she's doing what she's doing.
Yeah.
Saraswati, her mother added, is of British, German, and Italian descent, not Latina, South Asian, or Arab.
Cheers, Cody.
I'm as white as the drip and so is she.
I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't know why it doesn't work.
Photos of Saraswati as a child. In the photos, which
but thanks for dropping by. I
the mother
appreciate it.
asked not be published. Saraswati's complexion is significantly lighter than the bronzed look in more recent photographs. Perone also shared with The Intercept her Ancestry.com profile and a photo of Saraswati's biological father, who's dead. Another relative who has not to be identified confirmed Saraswati is white. Perone noted her daughter converted to Islam in high school, and at some point, she seemed to have felt the need to portray herself as having a different ethnic identity. I'm German and British. Her father was a Calabrese Italian, her mother added. She's chosen to live a lie. I find that very, very...
And I know that he's talking a lot. This is something that I can't speak into, but it's this tail end part that I'm really going to focus on here.
Sad. Oscar Pierre Castro, a human resources professional who participated in the search committee to fill Saraswati's position, told The Intercept that, get ready for this, she had presented herself as a queer, Muslim, multi-ethnic woman. But why? Why, you ask, would somebody do this? The answer is because that is a status symbol in America now. If you present yourself as a queer...
Yeah, being a minority, that's a status symbol. That's what Ben Shapiro is saying here. If you're not a white man and you're in the minority, that's just a status symbol. You're nothing. That's all it is. That's all you are if you're not white. You're just a status symbol.
Muslim, multi-ethnic woman. That is a good way to get a job now. Which suggests that America
you too, Cody.
Isn't quite that racist. In fact, it's...
Yeah, America's not quite that racist, guys. Yeah.
Sort of suggests that if there is a racial bias, broadly speaking on a cultural level right now, it mostly applies to what we would call white people.
Yeah, the racial bias in this country mostly applies to white people. Let's just examine that claim just for one quick second, just a quick second. And this is also something that I've brought up so many times in my videos because I think that this is really important. And this is one small sector of our country, but the Committee for Better Banks did a study and released the findings at the beginning of 2021, and here is the actual PDF file of the study. But they pretty much found that the biggest banks in this country are literally discriminatory when it comes to employing minorities. They employ white people more. White people are way more likely to get jobs at some of the biggest banks. And the Committee for Better Banks Analysis quantified the odds of advancement for black and Latino employees to a senior management or executive position at banks where data was available. Key numbers are as follows. This is going to be a lot of numbers. Here we go. 8%. The chance of a black employee's advancement to a senior management or executive position compared to their white colleagues at Capital One. 10% chance of a black employee's advancement to a senior management or executive position compared to their white colleagues at TD Bank. 15% the chance of a Latino employee's advancement to a senior management or executive position compared to their white colleagues at JP Morgan. These are all huge. These are like literally the biggest banks in the country. 23% the chance of a black employee's advancement to a senior management or executive position compared to their white colleagues at Bank of America. 23% the chance of a Latino employee's advancement to a senior management or executive position compared to their white colleagues at Citibank. 230%. This is where it's the chance of a black employee being in an entry-level position compared to their white colleagues at Citibank. 404% the chance of a Latino employee being in an entry-level position compared to whites at TD Bank. 427% the chance of a Latino being in an entry-level position compared to white people at JP Morgan. 505% the chance of a Latino employee being in an entry-level position compared to their white colleagues at Bank of America. And finally, Capital One, 650% the chance of a black employee being in an entry-level position compared to their white colleagues at Capital One. And this is just the banks, okay, guys? This is just the banks, and even if, that's one small sector of this country and our world, but these conservatives love to bring up stories like Mindy Kaling's brother, who said that he passed for a black person in order to get accepted into college, and then the conservatives look at that and say, "Oh, well, look, there's a bias against white people," which Mindy Kaling's brother's not white to begin with, and what he did was wrong. But to say that there's a racial bias against white people in any context, you need to prove that. Show me legislation that's been passed. Show me laws that have been passed that are anti-white people, that discriminate against white people. Because, again, I can show you a long, long, terrible, awful history that goes all the way to right now in this moment that we are all existing in of discrimination against black people, against Latino people, against women. So, they say, he says, the bias is skewed against white people in our society. No, it's not. And you can't prove that.
There is a huge cultural bias against white people in hiring. That if you're a company you're looking to hire, you're looking for diversity. And if you're looking for diversity, that means non-white people, for example. And so, predictably, that incentivizes people to masquerade as non-white. These sorts of stories are indicative of a broader cultural shift that, again, should be disturbing because we should be treating individuals as individuals.
This is also, I don't know what we were watching. I think it was the Newsmax clip where they said that this is a cultural shift, and this should be scary. If black people not being discriminated against and Latino people being discriminated against less, eliminating that types of discrimination, passing legislation that allows for that discrimination to all of the different types of discrimination that some of these minority groups face. Ben Shapiro saying that this is a cultural shift you should be afraid about, I think tells you everything you need to know about Ben Shapiro, who's not a bigot, who's not racist, who's none of the things that the liberals like to say that he is. It's Ben Shapiro. Is anyone surprised by what he says at this point? Absolutely not. None of us are. But that is actually going to be it for this show. I didn't want to plan too much because I work with my hardware here is not the greatest, and the other day I was in the middle of a stream, blue screen. But that's going to be it for this live show. If you guys liked it, please hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, press the subscribe button and press that little bell, turn on notifications